All right, elsewhere, we have the whole taxa thing, but there is another drama later on today at the White House where all 100 U.S. senators are going to be gathering for a classified briefing on North Korea. This is slated for 3 p.m. Eastern Time, about 2 hours and 15 minutes from now. So what to make of that with Ambassador John Bolton, our former representative to the United Nations. First of all, 100 of them, that's a lot of guys that you hope will show some discretion, but it lessens with each additional senator, doesn't it?
Well, I think there is absolutely no hope of anything that's said in this briefing being kept confidential, and I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I mean, Trump takes office after 8 years of Obama engaging in what he euphemistically called strategic patience, which is a long period of silence, essentially. And now suddenly people say, well, why do we have a crisis with North Korea? And the answer is because during the Obama administration's 8 years of strategic patience, the North Koreans were developing a nuclear weapons capability, developing their ballistic missile capabilities to the point where across the political spectrum, analysts believe that the North will be able to hit targets in the United States in very short order. Some say next year.
All right. Obviously, when the president wants to meet with all of them, and not just committee heads or leaders of both parties, he wants to share something, right?
Well, I think it's to overcome 8 years of silence and inertia to say, this is very serious. This is not a wag the dog scenario. You need to know just how serious this is. And I would add, if North Korea is that close to the capability, let's not forget that Iran could have that capability the next day through a wire transfer. So this threat of nuclear proliferation is very real, and the progress that North Korea has made, I use that word advisedly, people need to be aware of. And if the 100 senators immediately go out and tell all their constituents, good.
What do you think is going to happen there, and what is a provocative act? I'm kind of confused on it, Ambassador, because I'm told that if we were to try to shoot down a missile over North Korea, if they launch yet another one, that is on their territory and could be deemed a hostile act that would get a response. Others say if it's over the open seas, it's another guess. What is the rule of thumb on this stuff? I don't even know.
I don't think it makes any difference, because I think any American president confronted with the potential of a ballistic missile with God knows what under its nose cone that could hit the United States would take action to destroy that missile as early as possible, up to and including on its launch pad. Look, if Obama had not gutted the Bush National Missile Defense Program, we'd have more confidence. Ironically, by Obama ditching national missile defense, he's made the possibility of a preemptive military strike more likely, because you don't want to decide whether or not, or guess whether Kim Jong-un got out of bed on the right side or the wrong side on any given morning. Obviously, nobody wants military force used if we can avoid it, but that really means China has to step up, which they have not done for 25 years, and see that North Korea is a pretty ugly piece of baggage for them as well as for the rest of the world, and do what's necessary to make sure we don't have to face that decision on preemptive military force.
Do you think China is doing everything it can to mitigate this?
No, I don't at this point. I think it's too early to tell whether the presidents really changed their mind. Look, I've watched them for 25 years go humma, humma, humma. Yeah, we don't want North Korea to have a nuclear weapon, but they have not applied the force or the persuasion that they alone have the capability of doing. I think really we've got to aim higher than just stopping the North Korean nuclear program. I think we've got to reunite the two Koreas. When you say to Kim Jong-un, give up your nuclear program, what Kim Jong-un hears is give up your government and maybe give up your life. The nuclear capability and the North Korean regime are one and the same thing to him and his generals, and therefore the only way to be safe and avoid potential catastrophe on the Korean Peninsula is to move to a controlled reunification. Kim Jong-un won't like that either, but that's too bad.
Yeah, well, that's the way he stayed in power. That's the way his father stayed in power, and his father's father stayed in power. So there's something in what you say. Ambassador, thank you very much.
Thank you, Neil.